Hi guys, today we are going to find out, what if the Ice Age had never ended? You trudge through waist-deep snow, breath crystallizing in front of you like ghostly speech bubbles. Your fingers ache inside mittens stitched from dire wolf pelts, and your boots, carved from mammoth hide, sink with every step. Survival here isn't heroic, it's stubborn. The wind doesn't howl, it screams, sharp as shattered glass, slicing across glaciers that never surrendered to sun. You probably won't survive this, not without serious upgrades. Behind you, a child's laughter echoes as they sled down an ice dune on a polished rib bone. Joy persists, even when the world refuses to thaw. Above, the aurora swirls in violent greens and purples, nature's only concession to color in a monochrome apocalypse. It's beautiful. Also, it means a storm's coming. You pass a frozen corpse half buried in rime. Not tragic, just Tuesday. Locals mark such finds with red flags. Graveyards are vertical now. Ice columns with names scratched in. A trader shouts deals for seal blubber candles. Currency? Carved mammoth teeth. Inflation's low when your economy runs on extinction. Dark? Maybe. Practical? Absolutely. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Fake subs freeze faster than pawns here. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and local time. Bet it's warmer than -40 degrees where you are. If not, honestly, how are you alive right now? Now, sit back and let's dive into today's alternate journey together. The ice doesn't care about your plans. It's been winning for 120,000 years. You're just visiting. You follow the Mammoth Highway, a packed snow corridor flanked by tusks driven into permafrost like mile markers. These beasts aren't extinct, they're infrastructure. A caravan of woolly giants lumbers ahead, harnessed to sledges hauling obsidian and salt. Their handlers chant in low, rhythmic grunts. It calms them, mostly. One mammoth sneezes, launching a snowball the size of a boulder. You dive. Your dignity? Buried. Your survival instinct? Still winning, barely. Trade hubs bloom where mammoth trails intersect. Think Wall Street, but with more fur and frostbite. Brokers wear walrus hide suits and trade in frozen assets, literally. You barter a carved antler comb for directions. The merchant eyes you, then tosses in a warning, don't sleep near the calves. They roll in their sleep. A child rides bareback on a juvenile mammoth, giggling as it trumpets snow into the air. Parenthood here means teaching your kid to dodge blizzards and tusks. At dusk, the highway glows under bioluminescent lichen nailed to posts. Romantic? Sure. Also, it keeps travelers from stepping into crevasses. Practical romance. You pass a roadside shrine, a frozen mammoth skull adorned with red ribbons. Travelers leave offerings, dried moss, bone whistles, whispered thanks for safe passage. A trader brags his mammoth can pull 12 tons. You nod politely. Then his beast sits down mid-haul. He sighs. She's got unionized, I swear. Night falls. You bed down under a mammoth's belly for warmth. Its heartbeat thrums like a drum. You drift off, dream of grass, wake up shivering. Reality check. You arrive at the base of a glacial cliff pocked with windows, smoke curling from carved chimneys. This isn't a mountain, it's a metropolis. Vertical, frozen, alive. Elevators? Please. You climb rope ladders woven from mammoth sinew, each rung iced over and slick. Miss a step? The snowbank below won't judge. Much. Inside, hallways glow with whale oil lanterns. Walls are polished blue ice. Floors? Reinforced permafrost. Interior decorators here specialize in Arctic brutalist chic. Minimalist. Frostbitten, functional. A child zips past on ice skates made from rib bones, cackling as they dodge elders shuffling in fur-lined slippers. Youth moves fast. Elders? They've earned the right to thaw slowly. Your host offers tea brewed from glacial melt and lichen. It tastes like regret and moss. You sip politely. Compliment the cup. It's carved from a saber-tooth's tooth. Classy. Above you, balconies jut from ice walls. Couples lean out, sharing stew from shared bowls, breath mingling in the cold. Romance here is measured in shared body heat. A cry echoes, "Glacier shift!" Locals don't panic, they brace. The whole city groans, resettles. Architecture here is alive, and occasionally it rearranges your furniture. Without asking, you peek into a communal forge. Blacksmiths hammer iron over geothermal vents. Sparks fly. Sweat freezes mid-air. Their aprons, mammoth hide. Their motto? If it bends, we mend it. If it breaks, we trade it. At the summit, a wind chime orchestra plays melodies using icicles and frozen mammoth tendons. It's haunting, beautiful, slightly unnerving, like elevator music composed by ghosts. You sleep in a hammock strung between ice pillars. The ceiling drips occasionally. You catch drops on your tongue. It's not water, it's ancient, and slightly minty, probably. You join a caravan of frost nomads gliding across the tundra on bone skates, chasing the aurora like it's a celestial tour guide. Spoiler, it never stops moving. Their sleds are woven from sinew and willow, pulled by shaggy dire wolves trained to ignore the scent of your deliciously thawing toes. Mostly. At night, they pitch tents made of layered mammoth hide. Inside, it's 10 degrees warmer. Outside, the wind writes sonnets in frost on your eyelashes. A child teaches you to read ice. Cracks mean danger, smooth patches mean speed, glittering patches mean someone ahead spilled lichen tea. Priorities. You try steering a wolf sled. It goes poorly. The lead wolf yawns, the others sigh. You're demoted to blanket folder. It's humbling. And warm. They navigate by star patterns and the glow of geothermal vents. GPS, please. Their maps are sung, not scanned. And yes, there's an app for that. Just kidding. There isn't. You share a meal of fermented moss and roasted lemming. It's an experience. You compliment the chef. He winks. Wait till you try the dessert. Frozen regret. Dancing happens under the aurora. No instruments. Just stomping, clapping, and howling at the sky. You join in. Your howl? Off-key. Your spirit? Unbreakable. Barely. One elder whispers legends of the green time, a mythic era of soft ground and unfrozen rivers. You ask if it's real. She smiles. Does it need to be? As dawn bleeds violet over the ice, you realize these nomads don't endure winter. They choreograph with it. And you're finally learning the steps. Slowly, clumsily, alive. You kneel in a cavern lit by flickering blubber lamps, where priests chant to glacier gods, deities of crevasse and calving, worshipped in hushed tones and trembling knees. Their altars? Massive ice slabs carved with spirals that mimic glacial flow. Offerings? Mammoth tusk shards, frozen tears, and the occasional well-polished regret. Deep stuff. Literally. A high priestess presses an ice amulet into your palm. Wear it, she murmurs. It won't stop frostbite, but it might convince the gods you're trying. You believe her, mostly. Ceremonies happen at pressure ridge intersections, places where ice groans loudest. Devotees say that's the gods speaking. Skeptics say it's tectonics. Both bring offerings. Smart move. You witness a naming ritual. A newborn is presented to a glacial vent. If steam rises gently, good omen. If it hisses, strong-willed child, they say. Translation, future rebel. Festivals mark the long dark, not with feasts but with silence. Entire cities hush for 3 days. No fires, no songs, just listening. To what? The ice. Always the ice. One acolyte confesses he doubts the gods exist. The priestess smiles. Doubt is the first prayer that doesn't freeze on your lips. He blushes. You make a mental note. Profound here equals frostbitten wisdom. You're invited to carve your fear into an ice tablet. You choose running out of socks. The priestess nods solemnly. A worthy terror. We shall intercede with the toe god. Pilgrims trek for months to touch the sacred calving face. A cliff of ice that sheds slabs into the abyss each solstice. They say if you hear your name in the crash, you're chosen. Or doomed. As you leave, the priestess whispers, the ice doesn't forgive, but it remembers. And sometimes, it waits. You clutch your amulet. Suddenly, your socks feel very, very important. You descend into the frozen library, a vault buried beneath 3 glaciers where knowledge is preserved not in books but in ice tablets etched with bone styluses. Yes, really. Librarians wear goggles and thermal gloves. Their job? Not just archiving, they chase runaway scrolls. Wind sometimes steals them. Retrieval involves skates, nets, and a lot of swearing, silently. It's a library. You request The History of Thaw. The librarian blinks. Section Mythical, Isle Never Happened. She slides you Surviving Frostbite Volume 7. It's 800 pages, all footnotes. Children learn to read by tracing glyphs on frost-covered slates. They're ABCS. A is for Aurora, B is for Blubber, C is for Crevasse, don't fall in. Practical curriculum. A scholar argues with a tablet. But the glacier moved. The footnote's now under Sector G. His colleague sighs. Then dig. Knowledge waits. Unlike your lunch break, you find a love poem carved into a melting slab. It's fading. You try to copy it. The librarian stops you. Let it go. Some truths are meant to vanish, like socks. And sanity. The rare ice wing requires 3 keys, a blood oath, and a promise not to sneeze. You sign. They hand you a text on pre-ice flora. It's blank. Allegedly profound. A tour guide whispers, "That icicle?" It contains the last known recipe for grass salad. You stare. People ate leaves? He nods. Barbaric, also probably delicious. Hypothetically, at closing, librarians chant a lullaby to the stacks. Sleep, knowledge, sleep. Dream of readers, dream of fire, dream of footnotes properly cited. You tear up. Or maybe it's the cold. As you leave, a child hands you a freshly carved tablet. You are here. You laugh, then realize it's a map, and you're standing exactly where the ice is thinnest. Coincidence? Unlikely. You crouch beside a hissing vent in the tundra, watching engineers bolt copper pipes into permafrost. This isn't plumbing. It's civilization's heartbeat, geothermal steam powering everything from forges to foot warmers. The lead engineer wipes sweat that freezes instantly on his beard. We don't conquer the ice, he mutters. We negotiate with it. And sometimes it negotiates back, loudly. Machines here are bulky, riveted, and insulated with layers of mammoth felt. Efficiency, secondary. Survival, mandatory. If your engine doesn't double as a space heater, it's decorative. Children play with miniature steam turbines carved from bone. Their favorite game? Vent roulette. Whoever's toy spins longest wins a strip of dried lemming. High stakes. Low calories. You tour a steam tram that glides over ice rails. It runs on pressure, not coal. Brakes? Ice wedges slammed down by burly conductors. Smooth stops are considered optional. A blacksmith demonstrates her latest invention, a self-stirring stew pot powered by vent steam. No more frozen spoon incidents, she boasts. You've seen those. They're tragic. And sticky. Factories hum inside glacier-carved caverns, lit by steam-driven lanterns. Workers wear goggles and triple-layered gloves. Break rooms? Heated alcoves with mandatory 7-minute naps. Productivity thrives on warmth. You ask about pollution. The engineer laughs. Our exhaust is hot air and occasional mammoth sneezes. The ice recycles everything, even bad ideas, especially bad ideas. At dusk, the vents glow orange under the snow, turning the tundra into a circuit board of warmth. Lovers stroll between them. First dates here involve shared mittens and frostbite forecasts. As you leave, a child hands you a tiny steam whistle. For emergencies, she says. You blow it. It shrieks. A nearby mammoth trumpets back. You've made a friend, possibly an enemy, hard to tell. You stand on a drifting ice floe, wrapped in diplomatic furs, as envoys from rival frost clans exchange mammoth tusk treaties. The table? A slab of glacial ice. The chairs? Frozen seal pelts. Negotiations begin with a toast. Blubber wine, served in hollowed horns. You sip. It tastes like regret and ocean. You compliment the vintage. They beam. Diplomacy is 90% pretending. A mediator thumps the ice table. No one annexes the thermal springs. The flow shudders in agreement. Or maybe it's just calving. Either way, everyone pauses, nods, continues. Children dart between delegates delivering scrolls sealed with whale grease wax. Their job title? Tiny ambassadors. Their salary? extra jerky. Their success rate? Higher than the adults. Shocking. You witness a marriage pact between clans. The dowry? A live dire wolf pup and 3 geothermal drilling rights. The vows? Sworn over event. Steam rose. Everyone cried, probably from heat. A dispute erupts over fishing lanes. Solution? A game of bone hockey on the flow. Winner takes the lane. Loser gets frostbite and a consolation mammoth ride home. Fair? Debatable. Fun? Absolutely. One envoy whispers, "We don't sign treaties in ink. We sign them in frost patterns. If the ice remembers, the pact holds." You glance down. Your boot just smudged clause 4. Oops. Lunch is served. Lichen wraps and pickled aurora eel. You ask what aurora eel is. They exchange glances. The ones that swim upward. Into the lights, you decide not to ask follow-ups. At sunset, envoys link arms and howl treaties into the wind. It carries the words farther than paper. Also, it confuses nearby mammoths. Win-win. Mostly win. As you disembark onto stable ice, a child hands you a carved ice coin. "For luck," she says. You flip it. Heads, peace, tails, more meetings. It lands on its edge. Perfect. You hunch over a steaming bowl in a tundra side stall where the chef stirs lichen stew with a bone ladle. The secret ingredient? Hope. And mammoth fat. Mostly mammoth fat. Patrons slurp loudly, cheeks puffed against the cold. No one uses spoons. Too slow. Bowls are lifted, tilted, inhaled. Etiquette here is measured in degrees of frostbite avoided. A child offers you crisp fried aurora shrimp. You ask what part of the aurora they're from. She winks. "The crunchy bits." You eat one. It crackles. Tastes like static and regret. Delicious. Dessert? Frozen cloudberries stuffed with seal butter. Served on a chilled stone slab. You bite. Your teeth protest. Your soul thanks you. Compromise is the foundation of tundra cuisine. The chef leans in. Real gourmets age their jerky in glacial crevasses, 3 years minimum. Adds depth. Also, occasional rock flavor. Consider it terroir. You nod. Pretend to understand. Nod again. A food critic scribbles notes on a walrus hide tablet. The lichen broth sings, if you enjoy songs performed by rocks in a wind tunnel. The chef bows. High praise. I'll frame that. You witness a taste trial. A local accused of hoarding spice moss must prove innocence by eating a raw glacier eel. He survives. Barely. The crowd cheers. Justice is spicy. Breakfast is fermented moss pancakes drizzled with melted permafrost syrup. You ask how they harvest syrup. The vendor shrugs. We don't. The ice cries it. We catch it. Morally ambiguous? Maybe. At lunch, you're handed a skewer of roasted lemming. Eat the tail first, advises your host. It's the politest part. You obey. The tail winks at you. Probably your imagination. Probably. As you leave, the chef presses a pouch of emergency jerky into your mittens. For when the world forgets to be kind, you clutch it. Suddenly, the ice feels less lonely and more delicious. You step into an Aurora Academy, a dome of ice lenses that magnify the northern lights, turning classrooms into theaters of living color. Lectures are lit by cosmic glow. Attendance, mandatory, awe, guaranteed. Students sit on fur cushions, scribbling notes on frost slates with charcoal sticks. The chalk? Ground meteorite, sparkles. Also, it's slightly radioactive. Adds urgency to deadlines, jokes the professor. A child raises her hand. If the aurora is solar wind, why doesn't it freeze? The teacher smiles. Because magic refuses to obey thermodynamics. Also, poetry. Mostly poetry. The class nods, satisfied. You peek into advanced ice physics. The blackboard? A vertical glacier face. Equations are carved with bone chisels. Erasers? Hot rocks. Mistakes steam away. Literally. No red pens needed. Lunch break means huddling under thermal lanterns, trading rations and rumors. I heard the southern ice cap moved, whispers one student. Shh, that's just a myth. Probably everyone glances south, nervously. A pop quiz appears, etched onto the floor by overnight frost. Question. Calculate the emotional weight of a melting snowflake. You write, depends who's watching. The professor gives you extra credit. Field trips mean strapping on crampons and scaling aurora-lit ridges to collect charged ice samples. One student slips. His notebook flies. The aurora catches it, returns it. Everyone claps, even the ice. The headmaster announces a snow day. Not because of weather, because the glacier beneath the school is meditating. You ask what that means. He winks. It's rearranging its chi and our plumbing. At dusk, students release paper lanterns made of mammoth parchment into the sky. They rise, glowing, until the aurora swallows them. Homework? Follow the light. Report back. Bring snacks. As you leave, a girl hands you a frost slate with a child's drawing. You waving under a swirling aurora. Beneath it, don't forget to wonder. You tuck it away. Your heart? Slightly less frozen. You zip up a cloak lined with mammoth down, its hood rimmed with frost-resistant fox fur. Fashion here isn't frivolous. It's functional. Also, it doubles as a sleeping bag. Priorities. A street vendor sells goggles with bone frames and glacier lens glass. Polarized by nature, he boasts. You try them. The world sharpens. Snowflakes look like tiny angry stars. Accurate. Children run past in capes woven from aurora thread, mythical fabric said to shimmer with captured light. You ask how it's made. The tailor winks. We don't make it. We negotiate with the skies. You attend a runway show inside an ice amphitheater. Models stride on snow-packed catwalks, draped in layered seal fur and vent-warmed silk. The finale? A coat that breathes steam. Literally. A trendsetter lectures you on blizzard layering. Rule 1. If you can't survive a crevasse nap in it, it's not fashion. It's a death wish. With buttons. You nod. Add mittens. Immediately. Tailors measure clients with frozen ropes that contract in cold. Precision shrinks with the temperature, explains one. You ask if that's science. She shrugs. It's tradition. Also, we lost the tape measure. You commission a scarf that changes color with mood. It arrives red, constantly. The artisan sighs. Ah, your soul runs warm, or you're perpetually embarrassed. Hard to calibrate. At the Frost Gala, nobles swirl in gowns stitched with ice crystal beads that chime with each step. Dancing is risky. Too much spin? You become a human wind chime. Glorious, dangerous. A rebel teen wears a tunic made of recycled treaty scrolls. Fashion is protest, she declares. The envoys glare. She curtsies, drops a snowball down a diplomat's collar. Artistic statement. As you leave, a child tugs your sleeve. Your boots are last season. She hands you a pine cone pin. For edge. You wear it. Suddenly you feel unstoppable. Or at least adequately accessorized. You lace up bone skates and step onto the rink. A frozen lake polished smooth by generations of hockey sticks and stubborn optimism. The puck? A frozen mammoth knuckle. Standard issue. Crowds roar from ice bleachers wrapped in furs and waving banners stitched from treaty scraps. The chant? Crush the vent. Crush the vent. You ask what it means. No one knows. They cheer louder. The referee blows a walrus tusk whistle. It sounds like a dying goose. Play begins. Players zoom, collide, tumble. Rules? Flexible. Sportsmanship, optional, survival. Strongly encouraged. A child on your team winks. Aim for the ankles, or the ego, both work. You nod. Skate hard, miss the puck. Hit a rival's lunchbox. He bows. Fair play. That was my second favorite jerkies. Halftime means hot blubber cocoa and a ceremonial snowball fight between mascots. Live dire wolves dressed in rival team scarves. One eats a scarf. The crowd loses its mind. In a good way. You witness the miracle slapshot. A player launches the knuckle puck so hard it embeds in a glacier wall. Officials declare it a goal. Also, a new landmark. Tourism spikes. A vendor sells lucky lichen ropes to chew during tense moments. You buy one. It tastes like dirt and hope. You score immediately after. Coincidence? The vendor winks. The lichen believes in you. Overtime begins when the northern lights flash green. Sudden death, first blood, metaphorically, unless someone falls on a skate. Then, literally. Medics stand by, with extra mittens. The final goal is scored by a grandma who just wanted to stretch her legs. She winks, skates backward, and accepts her trophy. A year's supply of seal butter popcorn. Legend status, achieved. As you leave, a child hands you a knuckle puck painted with your face. For luck, she says. You tuck it away. Suddenly, every surface looks like a potential rink. Even your dignity. You strap on crampons forged from meteoric iron and join a caravan of icebound explorers, cartographers mapping the white void, where glaciers never calve and compasses weep frozen tears. Their maps are stitched onto mammoth hide scrolls, annotated in bone char ink. Here be frost worms, reads one margin. You ask if they're real. The lead scout shrugs. Define real. Define worm. Keep walking. At dawn, you ascend a ridge where the wind doesn't blow. It hums. Low. Constant. Like the planet's tuning fork, you hum back. The ice vibrates. Coincidence? The scouts nod. It likes you. A child points to a distant spire. That's the spine of the world. Touch it, and you dream in glaciers. You ask if anyone's tried. She grins. Only the ones who came back wrong. Or wiser. You sleep in ice caves lined with thermal moss. It glows faintly, keeps you warm. Also, it whispers. Mostly recipes, occasionally prophecies. You learn to ignore the moss, mostly. A storm hits, not snow, not wind. Pure white silence. Sound freezes. You shout. Your voice hangs in the air like glass, shatters when you sneeze. The scouts applaud. Nice echo. You find a cairn of frozen journals. The last entry, Day 87, still no green. But the stars, oh, the stars, remember? You add your own. Day 1, brought extra socks. Priorities. The lead explorer shows you a ghost ridge, a path visible only under aurora light. Walk it at midnight, she says. It leads to places that haven't happened yet. You take notes, and mittens. At dusk, they chant coordinates into the wind. Let the ice remember where we've been, they say. You whisper your name. The glacier groans, maybe in recognition, maybe indigestion. As you crest the final ridge, the scouts hand you a blank hide scroll. Your turn, they say. You hesitate, then draw a single line. Forward, always forward. The ice hums approval. Or hunger, hard to tell. You duck into a rebel hideout carved beneath a pressure ridge, where frost-draped banners hang like frozen flags of defiance. The air smells of damp fur, hot metal, and simmering revolution. A rebel commander sharpens her ice axe on a geothermal vent. We don't fight lords, she growls. We fight glaciers that think they own us. You nod. The ice creaks, nervously. Children pass out pamphlets etched on seal blubber parchment. Slogan? Melt the throne. You ask whose throne. They point upward. The glacier lords. Also technically, the sky, but mostly the ice. You witness a strategy meeting held inside a hollowed mammoth ribcage. The table? A frozen dire wolf. The chairs? Stools carved from treaty violations. Symbolism is strong here. And uncomfortable. A spy returns with intel. The glacier lords plan to expand the western shelf. They're stealing our drift lanes, shouts a rebel. You ask how ice can steal. He glares. Don't ask logic to a revolution. Propaganda posters adorn the walls, stick-figure nobles slipping on ice. Mammoths wearing crowns, slogans like, your toes deserve better. Art is crude. Message? Crystal clear. Also, slightly damp. You're handed a freedom muffin. Dense, nutty, laced with powdered lichen. It fuels the soul, says the baker. You bite. It fuels something. Possibly regret. Possibly courage. Hard to distinguish here. A rebel poet recites verses carved into icicles. O ice, you hoarder of horizons, return the sun, or face our shovels. The crowd weeps, or maybe it's melting. Hard to tell in this humidity. Saboteurs demonstrate their latest invention, thermal lichen grenades. Throw one, and it melts a perfect escape tunnel. Downside, it smells like fermented regret. Upside, very effective, worth it. As you leave, a child presses a tiny ice dagger into your palm. For when the world freezes your voice, she whispers. You tuck it away. Your words suddenly feel heavier, sharper, ready. You stand beside a cryo-engineer as she traces blueprints onto a slab of glacial ice with a heated bone stylus. Her canvas, the glacier itself. Her medium, frozen time. Architecture here isn't built, she says. It's persuaded. You coax the ice, flatter it, occasionally bribe it with geothermal vents. You nod. The glacier rumbles, either approval or indigestion. Hard to tell. You tour a district sculpted entirely from pressure-ridged spires, homes spiraling upward like frozen tornadoes, staircases carved into crevasse walls. Mail delivery? Via trained ravens, with heated saddlebags. A child demonstrates ice whispering, pressing her ear to a wall and humming until it reshapes slightly. The ice likes lullabies, she says. You try. The wall cracks. She pats your shoulder. Start with jazz. Cryo-engineers compete in the thaw trials, a contest to melt the most elegant archway using only focused sunlight and polished mammoth tusks. Winner gets a year's supply of dry socks, highest honor. You witness the installation of a frost heart, a geothermal core embedded in the city's center, pulsing warmth through carved channels. Citizens gather to listen to the heartbeat. You do. It sounds like soup. Yin. Blueprints are temporary. Drawn in melt lines, they vanish by noon. Forces creativity, shrugs the lead architect. Also prevents bureaucracy. You can't file paperwork that evaporates genius. Or laziness, possibly both. A rebel architect unveils her melting cathedral, a structure designed to collapse beautifully over decades. Art shouldn't last forever, she declares. Traditionalists weep, literally, into handkerchiefs made of ice. At dusk, engineers gather to sing the city to sleep, harmonizing low tones that stabilize the glacier's groans. You join in. Your note cracks, the ice yawns, they pat your back. Close enough. Welcome aboard. As you leave, the chief engineer hands you a shard of blue ice. For when you need to remember, even the coldest things can be shaped, even by clumsy hands. Especially by them you clutch it. It hums. You sit beside a geothermal vent, steam curling between you and your companion, whose laugh warms the air more than the vent ever could. Romance here is slow, intentional, slightly damp. Courtship rituals involve sharing body heat, not flowers. A suitor might knit you socks, or carve your name into a glacier. Permanence is sexy when the world is frozen. Also legally binding. A child tugs your sleeve. That couple over there? They met during a blizzard, got engaged in a crevasse, married atop a mammoth, divorced 3 days later. True love is messy. You believe her. You witness a first kiss, gloved hands clasped, breath mingling in the cold, noses bumping awkwardly. It's clumsy, adorable. The ice around them glows faintly. Or maybe that's the vent. Either way, magic. Love letters are etched into ice tablets. They melt over time. That's the point, sighs a poet. Love shouldn't be archived. It should be lived, and occasionally refrozen deep, also slightly soggy. A matchmaker measures compatibility by how well your mittens fit together. If your thumbs align, your souls might too. You try it. Your thumbs overlap. She nods. Complicated, but promising, like duct tape. Couples argue over vent rights. You hog the warm spot. You snore like a calving glacier. Reconciliation? Sharing jerky and a heated rock. Emotional labor looks different when frostbite is a third wheel. At dusk, lovers release whisper balloons. Seal bladder orbs filled with steam and secrets sent skyward. If the aurora catches one, legend says your wish freezes into the sky and comes true. Eventually, an elder shares her secret. We don't say forever. We say until the next thaw. It's shorter, sweeter, more honest. You ask if a thaw will ever come. She winks. That's not the point, dear. As you leave, your companion presses a warm stone into your palm. For when you forget how to feel. You close your fingers around it. The ice hums. Your heart? It hums back. Louder. You kneel beside a child bundled in 6 layers of fur, her breath puffing tiny clouds as she stares at the stars. "Do you think green ever existed?" she whispers. You don't answer. You just point upward. School books describe forests like myths. Tall, soft, full of things that didn't try to eat you. She squints. So, like upside-down glaciers with leaves? You nod. Exactly, but squishier and flammable. Her toy? A stuffed mammoth with button eyes? Her dream? To see a tree, not a carving, not a fossil, a real one. You tell her they're extinct. She frowns. Then we'll invent them. You visit a nursery where toddlers nap under thermal lamps, murals of impossible meadows painted on ice walls. One child murmurs, "Grass," in their sleep. The caregiver wipes a tear, or maybe condensation. A teacher shows a hologram, projected from Iceland's and aurora light, of a deer leaping through a field. The class gasps. It's not wearing fur. Where's its snowshoes? Innocence is adorable and slightly tragic. You help build a memory garden, a circle of ice sculptures shaped like flowers, trees, butterflies. They melt by noon. Kids dance in the puddles. "This is what rain feels like," one shrieks. You smile, lie a little. At bedtime, elders tell stories of the green time. Children ask if it'll return. The answer? Always the same. Not in our lifetime, but maybe in yours. If you dream loud enough, a teen shows you her sketchbook, pages filled with imagined forests, rivers, creatures with no tusks or frost-resistant hides. "I draw the world I want," she says. "Someone has to." Might as well be me. You attend a green ceremony. Kids plant seeds in permafrost boxes. Nothing grows, ever. They water them anyway, with melted snow, with hope, with stubborn, beautiful delusion. As you tuck her in, the child whispers, "Tell the stars I'm waiting." You promise you will. You look up, the sky winks back. Or maybe it's just the aurora. Either way, you believe her. You believe in her. You stand at the edge of the world, or at least the edge of known ice, where glaciers yawn into mist and maps end with "here be maybe." The wind carries whispers, or regrets, hard to tell. A child beside you clutches a jar of thaw dust, glittering powder scraped from rare melt pools. "For luck," she says. You ask if it works. She shrugs. Hope is the only currency that never freezes. Pilgrims kneel at the last ridge, leaving offerings of carved ice and whispered wishes. "Bring back green," they murmur. The glacier doesn't answer, but it doesn't laugh either. Progress? Possibly. You meet an old cartographer who spent 60 years chasing the thaw line. "It moves," he rasps. Not much, not fast, but it moves. He shows you a dot on his map. That's us. Still here, still waiting. A rebel poet nails her latest verse to a pressure ridge. "Oh, ice, your reign is long, but even glaciers dream of song." The wind carries it away, or maybe the ice swallowed it. Either way, it's out there. At dusk, you join a silent vigil. Hundreds standing shoulder to shoulder, staring south where no sun rises, no green grows, no thaw whispers. They don't chant, they don't pray, they witness, and that's enough. A trader offers you thaw tea, brewed from lichen found only where ice weeps. It tastes like metal and memory. You drink it. Your chest warms. Or maybe it's just the company. Or the stubbornness. Children fly kites made of seal bladder and mammoth sinew, their tails streaming red ribbons. "To mark the wind's path," says one. So when the thaw comes, it knows where to find us. You believe her. You believe. As stars pierce the violet sky, an elder takes your hand. "We won't see it," she murmurs. "But we plant the dream anyway, like seeds in stone. Someone someday will thank us, or curse us. Either way, we mattered." You turn for home, the child's jar of thawdust glowing faintly in your pocket. Behind you, the ice hums. Ahead? More ice. But now, you walk differently, lighter, louder, ready to dream the world awake. The ice never ended, but you did. Not in body, no, you're still trudging, still breathing, still clutching that jar of thawdust like it's a heartbeat in your pocket. You learn to read the frost like poetry, to hear the glacier's groans as lullabies, to taste hope in lichen stew and fermented regret. You danced under auroras that refused to fade, loved beside vents that never cooled, dreamed beside children who swore trees would rise again, even if they had to invent them from scratch. This world didn't break you, it remade you. Slower, quieter, deeper. It taught you that survival isn't about heat, it's about holding on. Not to warmth, but to wonder. Not to comfort, but to curiosity. So here's my question for you, real-world traveler. If your own world froze tomorrow, politically, emotionally, environmentally, what would you carry forward? What dream would you plant in the permafrost of despair? Because the ice doesn't care if you survive. But the dreamers? They care. They always do. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. Sweet dreams, and if you wake to green grass, don't forget to thank the ones who dreamed it first.